Are you looking for a new whiskey adventure? Then climb in and buckle up. Get ready for one hell of a ride on the Whiskey Trip podcast with your host, Big Chief. Join in as he and his guests explore whiskey and dive into whiskey stories from around the world. Now here's your host, Big Chief.
Folks, you know, here on the Whiskey Trip, we celebrate more than just the pour in our glass. We celebrate heritage, tradition, and the stories that make this country what it is. That's why I'm proud to tell you about our friends at the Heritage Flag Company. These aren't just flags, they're handcrafted works of art built from whiskey and bourbon barrels that once held the spirit we all love. Every cut, every nail, every burn mark tells a story of patience and craftsmanship. Just like the whiskey we sip, these flags are bold, timeless, and full of character. Whether you hang one in your home bar, your man cave, or gift it to a veteran or first responder, a heritage flag isn't just decor. It's a statement. It says you believe in freedom, tradition, and the legacy we pass down. So saddle up, whiskey family, and head over to theheritageflag.com. Use code WhiskeyTrip10 at checkout for 10% off your order. Let them know Big Chief sent you. Because just like your favorite pour, the Heritage Flag Company is made to be shared, honored, and remembered. Now let's get on to the show. Hey, it's old Big Chief, and yeah, you're taking another ride on a whiskey trip. And folks, I got a couple here, and I've had them on my shows before a couple times, and I'm excited to talk to them because they got a new whiskey that's coming out. It's not out yet. And you're going to have a chance to be one of the first persons in the nation to have this bottle of whiskey. But I got Frey Ranch on with me, Colby and Ashley from Fallon, Nevada. I still didn't say Nevada. It right, you two. Welcome to the Whiskey Trip, my friends.
That's okay.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you. Even though you said Nevada wrong.
We'll let it slide.
It's Nevada. Yeah. How do the native people say it?
Nevada. There you go. Kind of.
Nevada.
Pretty close.
Well, I got some whiskey in my glass, my big old rocks glass right here. I got some of your, I figured I'd start the show with an oldie but a goodie, your straight bourbon whiskey. Tell me about your guys' bourbon whiskey. What makes it stand out?
Jump in, Colby.
You want to do it, Ash?
No,
all right.
no. This one's you.
What really sets our distillery apart in general is that we grow 100% of the grains that are in all of our whiskeys. So the wheat, rye, barley, and corn that's in our bourbon that you're trying, we're all grown right here on the farm. We even malt our own barley on site. So if you consider it like an estate whiskey, there's estate wines, which are really common. There's very few estate whiskeys, and that's essentially what it is. We have total control over the entire process. And so our bourbon is 4 grains. It's most bourbons are corn, barley, rye, or corn, barley, and wheat. This one has the wheat and the rye, which kind of gives it a little bit of spiciness from the rye and a little bit of creaminess from the wheat, and kind of sets it apart a little bit from most bourbons that are just the traditional 3 grains.
I tell you what, it packs a punch for a 90 proofer. Out of all the whiskeys I've ever had, your guys' straight bourbon whiskey, because I think it's a 4 grain, like you said, is 90 proof. That spice, the creaminess, it puts everything together. And maybe it's just how you're growing your grains out there. Maybe you're a better farmer than anybody else.
That's not necessarily true. I think they're actually grown for a specific purpose, the grain. So traditionally, grain's just a commodity, and there's a lot of things we can do in the fields to make better quality grains for distilling purposes. But it's almost always the opposite of what we would do if we were growing it for the commodity market. For example, animal feed animals are the biggest consumer of grain, so animal feed. And we would do the opposite of what we do in a lot of ways on the farm if we were trying to create animal feed than we do for the distillery. And so we can sacrifice quality for quantity. Sorry, did I say that right? Quantity for quality, not quality. I think I said that backwards, but
I know what you're saying.
You get what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So, by growing it ourselves, but it's actually grown for a purpose. And traditionally, there's nothing wrong with this, but grains are sold to a big co-op who might have 100 different farmers that all put their grain in the same silos or bins. And there's not, like I said, there's nothing wrong with that, but then you don't really know exactly what you're getting, how they were grown, the specific varieties of the grains, the fertilizer management that can totally change and affect the quality of the grain, irrigation management, things like drought stressing it. So here in Nevada, it's the driest state in the nation. So we're lucky because we get beautiful water that comes from both sides of Lake Tahoe down to a reservoir. And that's what we use to irrigate our crops when they need to get irrigated. Not necessarily like if, the dryland farmers, I always hear they're either flooding or they're in a drought and, that kind of stuff. So like we can really consistently get consistent quality grains because we have an abundance or a beautiful water in a reservoir and call and, irrigate when they need to get irrigated, not necessarily when Mother Nature decides.
I love that you're irrigating with the reservoir, but that water's coming straight out of the mountains, right? And there's no better filter than nature itself, I believe. There's something to be said about that, especially about the beer that I drink. But much like your whiskey, it's coming off those Rocky Mountains. How did you guys get started? Ashley, did Colby talk you into this? Say, hey, we need to make a little whiskey. I got a little leftover grain. How did it all start?
So me and Colby dated in college, and I always knew that he wanted to take over his family's farm since the day I met him, and he would spend every summer and every weekend and pretty much every break on the family farm. And so shortly after we got engaged, it was, moving to rural Nevada to live on the family farm, and his love of agriculture and just his passion for growing things and farming in this particular land was so strong. And really his love of being able to take something. Colby's like a very fearless entrepreneur and somebody who very innovative and constantly it's hard to keep up with him because his brain's always moving, as well as he is too. Can't keep track of where he even is sometimes, but really taking that grain that we grew on the farm and turning it into a product, you could see that was really his passion. But when we really put our heads together and realized that nobody else was doing full ground to glass whiskey and growing 100% of their grains right on their farm and producing it into whiskey, that was when really the light bulb moment went off, and we said, this is going to be so much fun because we can be trailblazers and pioneers. And, in this industry, we've always loved American whiskey. So to be able to take a product that we love and something that has so much family heritage to Colby and meaning to him to grow the grains on the farm, we really thought there's no better way for us to take a piece of what we do here in Northern Nevada than to, share it with the country.
I'm surprised that I don't see some like TV show from the two of you now. Marketing number one, your whiskey. What a great TV show that would be.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of a wild life. Every day is a little bit different, and sometimes I think, man, we should have cameras following us because this is just
nobody
too
will
weird.
believe us if we told them. Yeah,
that's what TV's all about these days. That people can't believe that. Hey, this is made up. I think back to the first time I ever got your bottle in my hand, and nobody else had it at the time. You guys were about to launch in Kentucky, and you guys shipped us a package, and I'm like, man, this is heavy. And then we opened it up and looked at the bottle, and I was like, good Lord. I mean, folks, I can't tell you, if you haven't held one of these things, and it's the shape of a silo. Is that correct?
Yeah, we really wanted all the design elements to tie back to me and Colby on the farm. So everything from the topper to the label shape, which is in the shape of a belt and a belt buckle. It wraps all the way around the bottle, to the beautiful yellow color on the label, which really represents the corn that we grow right here on the farm. It's that same beautiful yellow. We wanted all those design elements to come through because it really is me and Colby's like authentic life, and we wanted that to shine and tell our story when we couldn't be there in stores and whatnot. So
I love it. I mean,
thank you.
You could kill somebody with a topper.
You probably could, yeah. We don't recommend that.
If you chunk it hard enough, it is massive, and it's the shape of a bolt or a bolt head. Nut, I guess. But I really do love it. I remember I tried to take one apart one time because I was like, and I think you guys used to have, it wasn't embossed in the glass, it was like glued in here.
Yeah.
The original.
We did, yeah.
First ones.
We did. And just the logistics during the pandemic, it was really hard for us to get. The toppers are from Argentina. The glass was in Mexico City. The boxes were made up in Washington, and you have to send the different components. It was just a lot to get that glued on. And then I had this moment where I was at the grocery store, and we had some problems with the toppers or the medallions falling off the glass. And I'm walking along the grocery store, and I see one on the floor in the grocery store because it had fallen off somebody's bottle, like shaken in their cart. And that's when I was like, we got to take these medallions off the bottle and be a little bit more efficient, recycle the glass, do it the right way. So we decided we were going to take that medallion off and have it embossed.
Wow. I mean, the bottle is still a beautiful bottle, even though that medallion came off there and stuff. And remarkable that the marketing that you guys put together for this is your own marketing and the thought process that went through that and stuff. And I can only imagine it comes from a family that is farmers. You got to really think about everything. A lot of people just think farming is driving a tractor around and planting seeds or harvesting, but it's the maintenance of that equipment to make it last. And, I was reading a story about the guy buying this $3,500 tractor, and he had it for like 60 years. And people laughed at him when he bought it because they were like, you need to buy a bigger tractor. And he said, well, if you maintain it right and you know how to plow the ground right, where the soft ground is, where the hard ground is, the right speed to go at, he was like, you can make your equipment last that much longer. And this guy had the tractor for that long, and it ended up being an antique. And I don't know if that's a true story or not, but maybe it was just a lesson in life that if you maintain your stuff, and I was always taught that way, you got to spray your shovels down, and once you dig some dirt and clean it back up. Is that built into your guys' life in the distillery?
Yeah, I mean, you have to maintain everything, and then sometimes the other side too is sometimes slow is fast. You probably heard that before.
Mm-hmm.
But like, you can get guys going too fast on the tractors, and they're pushing everything too hard, and they blow up an engine, and that takes 3 weeks to fix that engine. Well, that's 3 weeks of downtime that we could have been going a little bit slower, not quite working it as hard, maybe doing 90% or 80% of the work per hour, but going that whole 3 weeks that we're shut down, plus all the the money and the effort and everything else. And so it's really about just taking your time, doing it the right way, not necessarily the fast or easy way. And that's from the beginning. That's what we said we wanted to do with the distillery. Doesn't matter if it takes just a little bit more money or a little bit more time. We want to do it the right way, not the easy way, because if you think about it, we really can't screw it up. Like, we can't fail because the distillery is right in the middle of our farm. And my goal in life has always been to pass the farm into to my kids in as good or better condition than I received it in. And I was lucky I received it in great condition and want to do that too. We kind of consider ourselves temporary stewards of the land. Like, we can't take it with us when we die. So I want to pass it on them. Well, to do that, we got to really take care of every little aspect and really do a good job at what we're doing.
Well, you couldn't have said it any better. I couldn't have said it any better for sure. Is if you leave it better than you found it. I always believe that. Somebody asked me, if I borrow something, I pressure wash it. If it was dirty when I got it and I pressure washed it and cleaned it back up, or like, why'd you do that? Because I wanted to return it better than I found it. Or, maybe I borrowed somebody's mower and need a new belt or anything like that. It's just being a good steward of your neighbor, of the land you live on, leave it better than you found it. What kind of, for our new listeners out there that might not know you two, and know your distillery or know your whiskey, what kind of still are you guys running on? And is this a sweet or sour mash?
Yeah, so it's a sour mash, and we actually have, so it's all Vendome, so I'm sure you're really familiar with Vendome.
Just a tiny bit.
Yeah, everybody's got Vendome. They're the best. We love those guys. And anyways, we actually have 2 continuous stills and a pot still. So you're familiar with distillation, how it works, but traditionally you have a continuous still and a doubler. And what we have is the continuous still, and then we rerun it one batch at a time in the pot still, rather than running a doubler, which is also a continuous operation. And what we like about that is you can take a really dedicated, precise heads, hearts, and tails cut with a pot still. You can still kind of get the heads out to a certain point, but not in the same efficient, precise way that you can in a pot still. And so, but the problem with just having a pot still is you can't do a lot of quantity. They're less efficient. And so we kind of get the best of both worlds, because what we do is we strip everything in the continuous still. So it goes from about 8% mash to about 40% stripped alcohol. Then we put that 40% alcohol in the pot still, where we run it one batch at a time, where we can take a heads, a hearts, and a tails cut. And we're kind of getting the best of both worlds, because we're getting that quantity and the quality that we're trying to get. We've had a lot of people try our white dog right off the stills and talk about how it doesn't have that like moonshiny kind of funk that a lot of whiskeys have. It's really clean and fresh and crisp, and you really like, almost like when you put it in your hands and rub it together and smell it, you can really smell all the grains and everything. It's really, it's cool.
Now I can imagine out there in Nevada, that there's not too many white oaks growing. Where are you guys getting your barrels from?
So a couple different cooperages, ISC, which is the big guys, West Virginia Barrel Company, and then we got quite a few. I don't think they're in business anymore, from a company called Barrel 53. And but yeah, it's all American white oak. I don't even know if there's any oak trees in Nevada, but that's the one thing that we can't grow ourselves, I guess, here on the farm. But you know why this is kind of interesting, because I like to build things out of wood and work with wood too. You know why they use white oak instead of red oak?
Well, the grain would be tighter to keep the whiskey in. Red oak would seep through there, at least from what I know. And then the swelling of a white oak, when it does take liquid, it swells up nice and tight.
Yeah, because white oak has spongy pores, so it like you said, it swells up. Red oak has hollow pores, so it would flow through the pores of the wood.
Most ships or old ships would be built out of white oak. The mast, the keel, you would want to build, because if you built it out of red oak, it'd be super spongy and just disintegrate after a little bit of time. But a barrel can live forever. What's the oldest whiskey you guys have on site right now?
Probably 10 and a half years old. And it's extra, like here in Nevada, we get super cold winters, really hot summers. It gets down to maybe 0 during the coldest part of the winter, or maybe even less sometimes, and 110-ish during the hottest part of the summer. That really allows that expansion and contraction inside the wood, I think it's almost a little bit accelerated. We tried our 10-year-old, and at cast strength, it was almost too oaky. Like, it was really, really, like, concentrated, and for me, it was too much. Some people might love it, but you lost the grain flavor, and it's just like you're just drinking oak. But we proofed it down to 102 proof, and it was delicious.
Really?
Like it really brought out a lot of the oils and everything. And I love high proof whiskeys, and so that was a little bit, I didn't think it was going to be, help it that much, and it was amazing. So we're going to bottle our 10-year this year sometime too. And but it'll be 102 proof, and it's delicious.
I mean, you guys are that quintessential craft distillery right now that, a lot of people have whiskey coming of age. And I'd almost call it the Dave Pickerel effect of, and I don't know if you guys worked with Dave Pickerel or not, but he was the Johnny Appleseed of whiskey, and everybody was coming out with whiskey, building craft distilleries at the same time. And a lot of these distilleries, and I just talked about this at a whiskey tasting the other night, that craft distilleries are really coming of age, and their whiskey is, like you said, for you guys, a 10-year-old tastes oaky, and I can get on board with that, because there's Kentucky bourbon that, when it's 15, 16 to 20 years old, for me, for my palate, it's like chewing on wood, and I don't want that in my whiskey. I want whiskey that's, tasty. I don't want it to have a bad aftertaste or the finish on it to me lingers like bad smoked barbecue. I don't want that. I want whiskey that lingers like this bourbon right here that I'm drinking, that's hitting my palate just right, and I'm like, ooh, man, let's get another drink.
I think the thing is it's got to have balance. You can't have too much oak or too much, anything. And that's what I love about the 4-grain. And I think really having 4 grains makes it a lot more balanced and rounded in that way. But we did a barrel pick with the San Francisco World Spirits Competition, and they had their judges pick a single barrel. And we gave them 2 like 5-ish-year-old barrels, I don't remember, 5.5, 2 6.5-year-old barrels, and 2 7.5-year-old barrels. And, usually you do barrel picks, you do process of elimination. And so they eliminated the 2 7-year-old barrels and the 2 6-year-old barrels. They're trying to decide which one they liked better between the 2, 5 to 6-year-old barrels. And it just kind of goes to show you they didn't know what they were picking or had no preconceived notions. But, it's just whiskey. I feel like it has a peak. I have a bottle of Pappy 23, and I don't like it as much as the 10 or 12 or 15 or whatever. It's just
I agree with
too
you.
oaky for me. Yeah.
Some people would be like, "What?"
Yeah.
Just my palate is a certain way. Now, Ashley, how many barrels do you guys have laid down right now that's aging there in Nevada?
Yeah, in Nevada. We. I don't have the exact number now, but I know we've filled 30,000. We hit that mark last year, and we probably. How many do you think we've emptied, Colby? 10.
Oh, I think we're probably at 20. Yeah, we're probably at the 25, 26,000 here in stock.
Wow.
But it truly is amazing to have that many barrels. We live on the farm, so in our backyard essentially, and we don't really pat ourselves on the back enough, because when I started thinking about how many barrels we actually have, I thought, does anybody else on the West Coast have 30,000 barrels at their distillery? And I couldn't really think of anybody that would have that much. So we're really proud of what we've put down. Being able to taste through them is probably one of my favorite things. The different varieties of grain, to taste them at different ages, the different cooperages. It's truly amazing to be able to follow this aging trajectory of the whiskey. It's been a blast.
Now,
and that's what I think.
Go ahead, Colby.
People don't realize about the farm is we have to be a whole nother year ahead of a traditional distillery, because we'll plant last fall. We'll harvest this. It depends on the summer, but July or August, wheat, rye, or barley. We'll plant our corn here in the next month or so, and then harvest that in the fall. But we got to plant it way early and try to figure out our production needs and how much grain we're going to need, and a whole nother year. Whereas if we were just a distillery buying grain on the open market, we would just call the co-op and say, hey, send us another truckload tomorrow, And so it's a whole nother year. Whereas we already have a long time of planning, because then now you make the whiskey, you first grow the grains, then we make the whiskey over the next year, and then we have to lay it down for 6, 8, 10 years, whatever, and then bottle it. So that's a lot of planning.
Let's talk about that, because I don't think I've ever asked a farmer this before about corn or rye or wheat. How long before you harvest it can you distill with it? Do you have to dry it first, or could you go right into the mill and mill it yourself and distill?
Nope. We can do it, and we're lucky. One more reason why it's great to be here in Nevada: it's so dry. We don't have a lot of humidity, so we can get the grain to dry down in the field naturally. So we don't have to have big dehydrators or dehumidifiers in our silos or anything like that. They can store for long periods of time. But they're as soon as they are off the field, we can start to use them in the distillery. Yeah, there's no holding period or aging period or anything like that.
And what size of silos do you guys got on the farm there?
We have a few 1,000-ton silos, a 350-ton silo, and then 4, 8, 11 50 to 75-ton silos, and a huge mill. And then we also have a bagging machine where we can actually put it in these giant 12-foot bags. And then we have an unloader that unloads it from the 12-foot bags if we have any excess that we can't fit into the silos. So we could store a lot of grain here on the farm.
Are you guys selling grain to any other distilleries out there?
Not grain. We do like this year we'll have a little bit of extra corn, and we'll sell it to the dairy next door as corn silage. And so what we'll do is we'll go kind of cherry pick the best grain for the distillery, and anything else will go to the dairy next door. It's great feed for cows. And what silage is like grain is when you just take the actual seed. Silage is when you actually take the entire stalk, the ear of corn, the everything, and they chop it up into usually about 3/4-inch pucks. They have a big roller that rolls it and breaks up all the corn, and they put it over this giant pile. And they actually put an inoculant on it that's made by the same company as our yeast that puts bacteria in it, which is yeast is basically a bacteria but it puts so that it's breaking that corn silage down before it goes into a cow's stomach. And so that's really important, because then when the cow eats it, they're absorbing more of the nutrients from the corn. So anyway, so we'll do quite a bit of corn silage, but we don't really sell any grain to anybody else. 100% of the grain that we harvest is used by us right here at the distillery.
Yeah, when I was a kid, my uncle had a dairy across the creek from us, and we would have to harvest silage, and we had giant pits, these 100-foot long pits, and you'd have a bobcat that would be your turn to work. You didn't want to work in that silage pit all summer long, because the smell of it is, you can never forget the smell. But to work that pit for like a week and turn silage or feed cattle out of it, and they put tarps over it, but the pit would be about 20 or 30 foot deep and 100 foot long, and you would just pack that sucker full. And now they put them in big giant sacks, or I guess that's what they would be called.
Big bags. Yeah, ag bags.
A little farmer stuff for you there, listeners.
Really geeking out, huh?
Yeah.
Now, Ashley, what's you're like the marketing genius of this whole operation. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I would say that I'm the genius. We do have a big marketing team, and so we really bounce ideas off each other. But that's the best part is me and Colby as the founders have a whole team of people really behind us that push the brand in all sorts of ways, whether it's digital or consumer or trade marketing, sales teams, working with bars and restaurants or liquor stores or even like grocery stores. So it takes a village. We have amazing employees, and like I said, I wouldn't really call myself the expert. I am the expert in everything Frey Ranch, but we've got this amazing team, like I said, that is always bringing great ideas to the table.
Well, you're not doing too shabby.
Well, thank you.
Do you get to be the farmer's wife anymore?
No, not really. Some of the early days of our marriage, there was a lot of dates on the tractor because it was long nights and, driving up and down the fields. And I don't think we've done that in years, mostly because Colby doesn't sit on a tractor for hours and hours and hours anymore. I know he would love to.
I wish I could.
I was going to say, I know you would love to. But yeah, we get to do fun farmer stuff, but not as much as we used to. So
that kind of breaks my heart a little bit.
I know, yeah. I tried it. Well, that was also before kids, and so now I'm usually at home at night, and Colby will sneak off, and me and my team always laugh because we know when we get like late night phone calls from Colby or he wants to talk on the phone, it's because he's sitting on a tractor driving back and forth, and he always calls and is like, hey, I have this idea, and we're like, okay, buckle up. We're going to be here for an hour at least, because he's on a tractor sitting there driving up and down the field.
He's got time to think. Yeah.
He's got time to
your
think.
Best thinking, yeah.
But
everybody, even my farm guys and the distillery guys are like, oh, crap, Colby's on a tractor. We're going to have a lot more work when he's done.
Well, you can get a lot of problems solved inside a tractor, driving on tractor.
I mean, they're
peaceful,
so nice now. They've got air conditioning. Colby wears he can do like Zoom calls from the tractor.
I've done Zoom calls with my earpods in.
GPS.
See, we could have did this podcast with him in a tractor.
We probably could have done the podcast.
That would have been
for sure.
That would have been a first right there.
One day.
We gotta do that this next time we do this.
Yeah.
Just another reason for Big Chief to get more whiskey.
Yeah.
Well, listeners, we're up against the first half. What a great conversation, you two. And I am super excited. And listeners, I'll let you know how I usually do this. I try not to break into bottles. I keep myself honest about it, and I want to give you that first peek of me getting to taste something for the first time. So I usually don't sip on something. I want you to see me drink it for the first time on the show, and this is what we're going to be drinking right here. This is not out on the shelves yet. It's not on Frey Ranch's website. Look at that empty thing she's got there. Somebody's been sipping
Practice
on it.
makes perfect.
We had that bottle at home for a couple days, so.
Yeah.
But the color on this is amazing. So listeners, you stick with us. We'll be right back. The Whiskey Trip is proudly sponsored by Guardian Coins, a veteran, family-owned and operated company that understand what it truly means to honor service, story, and tradition. Guardian Coins just doesn't make the challenge coins. They craft symbols of pride, legacy, and camaraderie. From military units and first responders to distilleries, brands, and special events, every coin is designed with purpose and built to last. Here at the Whiskey Trip, our official Whiskey Trip Challenge coin was brought to life by Guardian Coins, and it represents exactly what this ride is all about. Craftsmanship, community, and sharing a great pour with amazing people. From custom artwork to flawless finishes, Guardian Coins works with you one-on-one to turn your vision into something tangible, something you can hold, collect, and pass down. So if you're looking to create a coin that tells your story, whether it's from your unit, your brand, or your next big milestone, trust the folks who know how much that story matters. Visit Guardian Coins on Facebook and tell them Big Chief from the Whiskey Trip sent you. Now pour something good and let's get back to the ride. All right, listeners, we're back for the second half with Frey Ranch Distillery. I got Colby and Ashley on here, and you guys are just like this super couple in whiskey, and you're like some OG distillers, craft distillers now. Do you feel like that hey, we've made it, we've made it over the hump, or is it still a struggle every day?
I want to hear what Colby says.
I don't know. That's a good question, because I don't really remember my life before we started selling whiskey. But I mean, keep in mind, we started legally distilling in 2006, and so I mean it's been a long time. And so I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I'm 25 and just started, and sometimes I feel like I'm 50 and ready to retire, and I'm somewhere in the middle there. I'm not going to say where, but anyways, that's a really hard question for me to answer. I want to see what Ashley says.
Okay, pressure's on. No,
Yeah.
I think that thank you for the compliment. I definitely don't feel like we're OG, but as far as have we made it yet? I definitely no. We have so much ambition and so many plans for the future, and I think as an entrepreneur, you're always searching for the next win, right? And whether it's the next state we launch in, or the next product that we're releasing, or the next online release, or tasting, anything that we do is always front of mind and looking for the next win. So that's what really keeps us going as entrepreneurs and leaders of our company, is celebrating all the milestones that come with it, whether it's the good or the bad, or the highs and the lows. But searching out the wins is the best part, for sure.
I love that. You couldn't have said it any better. Now, listeners, I promised before the half I'd tell you what we're drinking on right here. And this is their new release right here. It's not coming out till when, Ashley? While she's sucking down that whiskey?
April 17th. I'm going to have to look on my calendar now. April 17th. It's a Friday. We're going to be launching it online to our subscribers, so make sure that you subscribe to our e-newsletter. It's called The Dirt. We'll be making an announcement as to what time, but our first batch is only going to be available in our tasting room and on our online store, so you won't find it in any retailers, and we don't have a lot of bottles available. I think it's less than 300 cases that we split between the two, the online store and the tasting room. So once it's gone, this inaugural batch it's gone, and it's delicious. So I'm excited to dig into it and pour my glass and, start talking about the tasting notes, but really excited to release the farm strength rye.
Well, this one's it's 124.52 proof.
Yeah.
That's got some proof on it right here. 6 years old. Take me through this whiskey, Colby. Why sip on it?
It's 100% rye, just like our flagship rye. And I'll just kind of explain what farm strength, or kind of the concept behind that is each batch of our flagship bourbon, I would take a couple bottles out at cask strength before we proofed it down to 90 proof. And I wanted to be able to save it and kind of go back to it and taste it over time. And it was so freaking good that I drank it all. So I didn't have any. We said, we got to start bottling this at farm strength, the bourbon. So now we said we need to have a cask strength rye too. We do have single barrels that are cask strength, but we really need that cask strength because it's so much more flavorful and concentrated at cask strength. Besides our flagship rye is traditionally 100 proof, bottled in bond, but so that's why this is our inaugural batch. But if you look at the label, it actually says batch number 18. Because it's the same liquid as our batch 18 of our bourbon. It's just not cut down to
our rye,
to 100
our
proof
bottled
rye.
and bond rye.
Bottled
Yeah.
and bond rye. Okay.
We're so used to the farm
I
strength
know,
bourbon. I know.
Yeah, we haven't even launched it, sold it yet. You're like the second person to try it or something like that. So
I love it. I mean, it's
delicious.
It is something special right here. The taste on this is something different. I'm gonna have to sip on a little bit, but there's something familiar inside there that I'm like, I know this. That sensory memory that's coming back, right? There's something in there that I'm like, I've tasted this before.
I'm
things,
getting
and I
like,
just taste it.
oh, I'm gonna jump in with my tasting notes
Go ahead.
because
You're way better.
no, I'm not
this.
better. I think
You're
that
better
I
at
just
tasting
get
notes. Yeah.
I get better like pronounced tasting notes. You're like the overall like vibe of the whiskey, but on the palate, I get like a cream soda, which is really nice, and like that root beer candy on the nose, and like some floral, maybe like rose petal on the nose, which is some of my favorite tasting notes are going to be that really nice savory, which is like the cream soda on the front of the palate. That's just what I'm getting.
And then I got a lot of mint when I just tasted it this time too.
I get a lot of mint too.
Really? Now I could get the root beer, but more of a horehound candy that gives you that minty taste. And then I get a little bit of this honeydew melon from breakfast. And just this slight honey taste on it. Maybe part of that honeydew melon, but honeydew melon that's nice and cold. That's just perfect in the morning. And then for some reason, I'm getting a little bit of French toast with that sprinkle of powdered sugar on there.
Ooh.
Like a breakfast whiskey, I guess.
Yeah,
Right?
this is so beautiful. The spices here for me that I love, and a lot of people say I don't like rye whiskeys. I think most folks drink a bourbon style rye that's like 51% rye, and then the rest would be corn and some malt. But this is not that. You said it's 100% rye. So we were talking about this thing, and you said it was a breakfast whiskey, and I don't think you could have said it any better. That it just has all those characters of a nice, beautiful whiskey. And I'd ask you if the yeast affected it at all. Did the yeast play a lot of factor in this, because this is 100% rye?
Yeah, and that's it. It's funny because when you compare our 100 proof bottled in bond bourbon and our actual 90 proof bourbon, I said bottle and bond rye, sorry, with our 90 proof bourbon. I don't know where my head is today. Anyways, I get more rye spice in the bourbon than I actually do the rye, and I think that attributes a lot to the yeast that we use. There's a saying in the wine industry that you got to like what you make because you might end up drinking it all yourself. And this is my kind of rye. I feel like it's something you can sit on the front porch. I mean, it has a spice to it, but it's not like so spicy like some bourbons some ryes can be. That have you ever had ginger beer and it like tickles your throat right here? It almost kind of makes it hard to talk and stuff. Sometimes I get that off of ryes if they're like extra spicy and really in your face, and that's not necessarily my style. And so I really wanted like a sitting in the front porch, easy to drink rye. And so then we played around with a few different yeast varieties and stuff, but we really distilled each grain by itself. So 100% rye, 100% corn, 100% wheat, 100% barley, even unmalted and malted barley. And we really wanted to see what each grain was contributing flavor-wise without any outside influence. And when we made the rye that we made, we're like, holy crap, this is really good. Like, let's keep making it this way. And so even though it's a pain, you rarely see 100% rye mash bills, because you do need those other grains. There's like these polymers in rye that are almost like if you stick your finger in the vat and you kind of go like this, it's like slimy. The problem is traditionally, like during fermentation, the yeast is creating CO2. Traditionally, the CO2 just floats up to the top of the tank and dissipates out into the atmosphere. Well, the viscosity in rye is so thick that a lot of times they become encapsulated in that kind of sliminess. So a lot of distilleries will put other grains with it. It only has to be 51% or more to be called rye. And so they'll put other grains to kind of thin it out and make it easier to ferment and everything. We don't do that. It's a giant pain. We have to do everything perfect. So meaning we have to cook it to the exact right temperature. If we cook it too much, you burn it. If you cook it too little, it doesn't break down those polymers and everything. We have to use the exact right amount we use commercial enzymes to help break it down, which is what traditionally barley is used, or malted barley is used for the enzymes that are created during that malting process to liquefy the starches and kind of make that less viscous. And so we have to use the exact right amount of enzymes. Otherwise, we have overflown tanks and things like that. But we've really kind of perfected it over the years and got it down perfect.
Well, what a beautiful whiskey. And now that I'm sipping on a little bit more, it has this, as Ashley said, this root beer candy, those little bitty barrels that you would sip on.
Yeah.
And this is a kind of whiskey that has, and I'm shocked because it's 6 years old. And listeners, I wouldn't say this very often, but this has a long finish to it for me. It sticks with me. And I've had a bunch of whiskeys in a row I've said this about this year already, and I got to be careful because I'm going to end up with a list of like Fred Minnick's of 100 bottles or something that is going to compete for my whiskey of the year. But I would dare say that this could compete for my whiskey of the year right here, folks. This thing is just,
thank you.
It is mind-blowingly delicious. I don't think I've had that honeydew melon on a whiskey before, or French toast with that powdered sugar on it for me. Those are two notes I haven't gotten in a whiskey, but it brings back those memories for me. And that is what I'm looking for in a whiskey. I'm looking for something that it brings back those memories of a kid of getting French toast. And, you thought it was something amazing, but that's all your mom had was some eggs, some white bread, and some poor man powdered sugar, and she made you breakfast out of it. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, this morning when I got up, I made myself 4 eggs over easy, and I made some fried bologna, and I took a knife and I cut me 3 slices in it and fried it up for breakfast. That's just kind of how I roll in the morning sometimes.
I love it.
But what a beautiful whiskey, you two.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we're super excited and proud of it, and can't wait. We've wanted to release this farm strength rye for a while now, but we were really waiting for that 6-year age mark on it, and this year it was just the perfect time. We always get to taste it, and it is delicious. So for us to be able to share a piece of what we grow here on the farm as a whiskey, there's nothing better.
It's kind of every farmer's dream to be able to do something meaningful with their crops, and that's why I love making whiskey and being able to share it with people.
Yeah.
I mean, do you guys have dinners out there sometimes, and you share your whiskey with friends? You have them out to the distillery or for your team, and say, we're going to cook dinner for everybody, and share it for the first time, and everybody's just like, wow, you two are magical.
we don't get to do that because we live about 60 miles east of Reno. So if we have people come out, it's always challenging. You don't ever want anybody to drive drunk. But I will say what's really fun for us, speaking of dinners, is going out to dinner and seeing your whiskey on the back bar and then sharing it in a cocktail with your friends. So whether we're, in Portland or Vegas or Phoenix, Chicago, Texas, that's when it's really fun, to go to dinner with friends and have Frey Ranch be on the back bar and order a cocktail. I mean, that's my favorite thing.
I'm sure I would geek out, if I saw a big bottle of Big Chief on the back bar, I'd be like, "Ooh, check that out, everybody." You know who made that?
Like all my friends know, we went to Vegas, actually went to Backstreet Boys, it was amazing. And we go to this bar at the Venetian, and, they had Frey Ranch. And so all my friends were like, all right, we're going to all get an old fashioned. I'm like, of course, I love a good old fashioned. So sign me up. I'm there. But it's, we've got an amazing group of friends that they're our biggest supporters and, the biggest fans. That's what I love. That's my favorite part.
Do the Backstreet Boys, they drink your whiskey too?
Well, I don't know. I mean, we should reach out and ask, but
I mean, I would. I always mix up all those boy bands. I don't know why, but I got a friend, Beth Newton, and she's the biggest New Kids on the Block fan. I've never met anybody that's more of a fan than she is, and she's just an amazing woman. But I swear, I've never seen anybody go to more New Kids on the Block concerts.
That's hilarious. Backstreet Boys put on a really good show, so I'll leave it at that. It was fun.
You can sing all the songs and everything?
I wasn't the biggest fan growing up, but as a group, like a millennial mom, I think is what they call us now, to go back and have like this throwback moment where everybody's like dressed in white with like the butterfly clips in their hair. It was amazing. It was really fun. You had to be there.
Or did Colby listen to that back in the day?
I don't know.
I don't think I could sing one. I think the only part I know is like one song says Backstreet's back. All right. That's my extent of Backstreet Boy song knowledge right there.
I'm glad I grew up. The bands I had were Merle Haggard and Willie Nelson. Maybe a little Johnny Cash mixed
probably
in.
More Colby style.
Yeah. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. I can say that, and it's kind of sad to me, we're talking about music a little bit, is my wife and I had a chance to go over to Houston, and a big shout out to Vet Tix that gives tickets to veterans and first responders. A lot of artists will donate tickets to that. But I got to go see Coulter Wall play, and it might have been like one of the last concerts he's ever going to do. And we got front row seats, like right up on the stage. And
Wow.
Then he announced, "Hey, I'm gonna take a break," and he said retire from music, and I don't know if that means it or not, but he's a big farmer, a big rancher up in Canada. I don't know if you guys knew that or you even know who Coulter Wall is.
No, I didn't know he was a farmer.
Yeah,
He must be a good guy.
he
I like him already.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I mean, he can sing. He's got some good songs. But let's get back to this whiskey. What else do you guys got coming out besides this straight rye whiskey right here? This farm strength. What else do you guys got coming down the pike?
Well, Colby gave a teaser on the 10-year, which we're really excited about. We just submitted our label to the TTB, so of course, the folks that kind of scroll the TTB and pull the labels, they kind of are able to pull that information and share it, which is fine. That's going to be coming out this summer, and then we have our annual Harvester series, which we do that with Nancy Fraley. And she's an amazing blender. Yeah, Nancy the Nose. She's just an amazing person, an amazing blender. She's got so much talent, and excited to get that Harvester 3 released this fall during our harvest season. So really excited about those two whiskeys that'll be coming out. And I don't know what Nancy's going to lead with this year. So she gave us some clues, and I mean, it came from left field. It was like, wait, what is she doing? Like,
Yeah.
It's going to be different.
It's going to be fun.
It's going to be fun. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Maybe old Big Chief will open up his door and find a package waiting for him there of the
Yes.
harvester. Man, that'd be amazing. Trust me.
Yeah.
Whenever this package showed up, I'm like a kid in the candy store every day, because I often get packages from the UPS man. I love him, and he knows what I do. He might get a bottle here or there, just so the package doesn't get lost on me.
Yes. Very important.
But even today, when I showed up from work today, I got a photo on my phone that they left it outside our gate, and I was worried. I got this knot in my stomach. I was like, man, somebody steal my box of whiskey. And not only was it a box of whiskey, but there's a bottle of whiskey in there from Seldom Seen Distillery, and from my good buddy Kevin Holy up in Ohio, and it has some of his maple syrup in there too that's been bourbon barrel aged for 6 to 9 months. And you talk about putting something on some French toast. Now that
sounds amazing.
it is. If you guys don't have any, we're gonna have to get you some.
Sounds
We
amazing.
tried bourbon barrel aged honey, but it didn't work very good because honey didn't have enough moisture in it to keep the barrels from drying out. So the barrels dried out and it just leaked all out of the staves.
Is that because it's so dry there that there's no humidity?
Yeah, so we're super dry. Normally the whiskey, and it's even in the humidified warehouse, but it's still like, the reason why honey keeps so long is because it doesn't have a lot of moisture in it, enough water, whatever. So same thing with the barrels, so it leaked all over the place. But I was just thinking, when you talked about like giving your UPS guy a bottle, what we call that is grease, right? And so you were asking earlier, you maintain your equipment and everything, and you got to grease your tractors and your equipment and everything, but you also got to grease the people that take care of you, like your UPS guy.
Got to maintain that UPS driver.
You're maintaining your relationships, and your people that help you out.
I maintain a lot of people, it seems like, and people like, hey, could I come over to your house and see what kind of whiskey you have, you've gotten lately and stuff. And people often say, hey, you're the king of craft because you'll have craft distilleries on when nobody else will. But my thing is, I believe in a story. I believe in farmers. I believe in couples like yourself that are the American dream. You too are the American dream, and the stuff that you say is the truth. You're trying to leave it better than you found it. You're trying to leave your children with something, a legacy. And God dang, have you built a legacy since 2006? There's something special. You're very recognizable on the shelf. It's very easy to reach for your bottles because you know where it's coming from. You know the people, you know what land it's coming from, and that you guys are taking care of it for the future. And there's nothing better than that, I think. Me and my wife talked about that the other day. It's been a minute since we left Kentucky, and when we were in Kentucky, everything on our plates, our whole entire meal came from the land around us. And
so cool.
To me, that, from the vegetables to the deer meat we were eating, and we did that not too long ago. I harvested some hogs and we were eating that, and I said, man, maybe this year we'll have a garden and we'll be able to have one of those meals again. But this must be awesome to have the meal too. Do you guys have a garden?
Mm-hmm.
We got a garden.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Ashley has her Ashley garden every year. You want to
Last
talk about
year,
it, Ash?
oh yeah. So
Yeah.
Colby and then my youngest Charlie, they're big pickle fans. I don't like pickles, but we Colby actually planted the cucumbers, and
Ashley nurtured them and got them amazing.
I don't know what he did. It must have been like his farmer genes, but every other day I was harvesting about 100 cucumbers from this garden. And so for basically the whole fall, every Sunday we were pickling cucumbers.
We have like 1,000 cucumbers
Yeah, we did
every week.
We did over 150 jars of pickles. And mind you, I don't eat pickles. So I would spend my weekends, basically my Sundays, making pickles. But Colby had all these different recipes, whether we were taking the garlic and we were just putting the garlic clove in there, or we were cutting it up and mincing it, or how many jalapenos and how much dill did it have in there to the certain brand of vinegar. And now we can do pickle flights. We can do pickle tastings. It's been so much fun. So yes, we have a garden.
So
It's
so
been
the
so
question is, Colby, have you had a deviled pickle?
Oh yeah.
You've made
Yeah.
those?
I've never made them. I've had one before. I think at a bar we went to. I think it was in college. It had to have been.
Or
in
you're
college.
talking about a drunk pickle?
Oh, maybe.
A
What's
deviled pickle is you use the pickle and you make deviled egg the filling
Yeah.
and put it in a pickle.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, but they kind of hollow it out and
Yeah.
they like
Oh,
shove
yeah.
it in there, right? Yeah. They had like those at a bar one time, and I don't know where they came from or how. It was kind of a weird situation, but I got to retry that. We got to make some of those, Ash.
And then I saw
Easter's coming up.
the thing lately. People are taking and making this pickle dip stuff. It's, I don't know what it is. It's all over TikTok.
I know.
I got
Pickles are
pickle
having
everything.
a moment. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I got. You could tell them about Pickle Palooza, but I got my kids now buy me pickle underwear, pickle T-shirts. I got pickle socks. I got pickle everything.
Yeah.
And then in December, a lot of times they're a little bit slow, and so Ashley's like, "What can we do in the tasting room just to have some fun?"
January.
Or
We
whatever.
did it in
January,
January
sorry.
last year.
Yeah.
We were like, we did a partnership with a local brining company that does carrots, beets, pickles. But they did some boozy pickles where they take some of our bourbon and they put it in the brine and they make a boozy pickle. And we started carrying them in our tasting room. It was a Frey Ranch boozy pickle. They're actually in a lot of grocery stores across California and Nevada. Great seller for this company and great seller in our tasting room. I mean, they were flying off the shelves. So I said, well, we should have like a pickle palooza, like this pickle party. And we had hundreds of people show up.
It's like 600 people
Like
on a
pickle
weekend,
costumes, pickle, like everything pickle. So we've done it for a couple of years now, and it's gotten like bigger and better, like pickle popcorn. We did pickle s'mores. So this year I'm moving it to the summer because it's just we run out of room because we don't have enough indoor space in the winter. So we're going to do a whole pickle weekend, and I've got a food truck lined up that's going to do
weekend.
whole pickle weekend. And they're going to do their chicken wing food truck, and they're going to do like pickle ranch, a pickle spice, pickle rub, I guess, on the wings. And I've got an ice cream truck that's going to do pickle ice cream. It's a whole thing.
Colby's like, hey, hold on a minute. Don't be giving away all my pickles.
Yeah, well, we can't use our pickles. These are for the ones you can get at
Come
the
on.
store. Like,
let me ask you this. You know, everybody's always trying to figure out a way to use used bourbon barrels, right? And there's a plethora of used bourbon barrels right now for people.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried to take and fill up and brine your own pickles in a barrel? I know when I was stationed up in Maine, we went to a farm and they had a deli and they had a whole barrel in there and it was filled up with pickles.
Let's do that, Ash. You're going to have to plant a couple more cucumbers this year.
I don't know how you do. Ashley's like, Big Chief, shut up. Shut up right now.
No, listen, we could try
We've got
it.
a 55
we got
gallon
like the
drum of,
Reese's
vinegar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you can
We
put a
could
lot
do
of
it.
pickles in there.
we could.
Yeah, I'm going to make one batch. Just keep adding to it every weekend.
And if you use a used bourbon barrel, I mean, I think it's wet. You might give that little bit of flavor into the pickle.
Oh,
I think
absolutely.
it would. Yeah. It's got to go through the seasons, though. We need that pickle vinegar to go through the char level, you know.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
expansion and contraction.
I bet you it'd be good. You know, down here in the South, down here, not too far from us is Avery Island, Louisiana, by New Iberia, Louisiana, and they have a little place down there called Tabasco. And you know how they age Tabasco in used bourbon barrels?
Yeah.
Oh, really? I didn't
Yep.
know that.
Yeah, it's a pretty neat place to visit. It's only like 2 hours from us, and the botanical gardens there are beautiful. Well, we've got off track a little bit talking about pickles and your garden, but I love it. You guys are the ultimate couple. I swear to goodness.
Thank you.
I love it, and it makes me feel better about being a farm kid. I imagine your kids are just living the life, living the dream and stuff, and hats off to both of you.
Thank you.
You guys sent you sent this cap right here. and I thought I had a cap. I almost tried to keep this, listeners, but one of you is going to get it. I looked through my plethora of whiskey caps, and I have a couple. My wife bought me these little things that holds 20 caps, and I have 3 full racks. So I have 60
Wow.
whiskey caps right now. But I got this Frey Ranch cap, and then we got this bottle right here. So, listeners, we're going to give this away. But as always, you know how my giveaways work. We're going to make you put an emoji of a tractor on there. I would tell you what color, but I don't think you can pick what color a tractor emoji. But put an emoji of a tractor, tag 4 friends, follow Frey Ranch Distillery on Instagram, and then follow the Whiskey Trip, and then share the post. We're going to post this all week long in different posts. Make sure you don't follow me and follow Frey Ranch and then unfollow us. Don't do that. But you can tag as many people as you want. If you got 5,000 friends, tag off 5,000 of them. Tell them about Frey Ranch. Tell them about this bottle. I am paying attention to who's putting in for these giveaways. Let's help Frey Ranch out. Let's help this farm family right here. Let's help this craft distillery sell some whiskey. At the end of the week, 7 o'clock on Monday night, I'll do the giveaway video. Listeners, you know I don't use a randomizer. I pick somebody that deserves this thing, that deserves a bottle of amazing whiskey. And I'm telling you, you're going to want this right here. 24.52 proof. I had to look at it. 6 years old. Honeydew melon, French toast with powdered sugar, root beer candy. I mean, come on. How can you go wrong with that? What do you guys think about that? Is that a good giveaway?
I think it's amazing, and like
think
what a
since you
special.
can't even buy it
Yeah,
yet,
what a
so.
special gift to receive, to be one of the first to taste it and have a bottle. That'll give you some credibility with
street
your
cred.
friends. Yeah, some street
Some
cred
street cred.
for
Well,
sure.
hopefully we'll get a couple people put in for it. You never can tell what else I'm going to throw up inside that box there. I got some
That
Whiskey
sounded
Trip
bad.
stickers.
Don't throw up inside the box.
Not throw up, but what else I'm going to throw in there?
Oh, there you go. Oh, I get it.
Yeah, throw up in there.
Yeah.
That sounds bad. It does sound
Yeah.
bad. But I got a Frey Ranch sticker. I got some Whiskey Trip
cool.
stickers I'll throw in there.
Nice.
Put in for these giveaways, folks. Well, actually, Colby, any last word for our viewers, for our listeners out there?
No, thank you for
Yeah,
having
thank
us
you
on.
for
It was
having
a
us.
pleasure. You're easy to talk to. Like you've done this once or twice, so
A
thank
couple
you.
times, yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Well, where can we find you guys on social media?
Yeah, Frey Ranch Distillery on Instagram and Facebook. You can find us on LinkedIn, on X. We're not on TikTok, but the other social channels you can find us. You can also subscribe to our e-newsletter. It's called The Dirt. You join that on our website via the pop-up, and we always announce new releases to our subscribers first. So make sure you follow along.
I love it. And then when is the distillery open for people to come out?
Yeah, so we're open only on Saturdays from noon to 4. We're a fully functional farm. Me and Colby live here on property, so more than likely if you come to visit, you'll get to see us or one of our kids running around. We love to be in the tasting room and visit all of our customers, so come on and join us at the ranch.
And then make sure you get out there to Picklepalooza.
Yes, yeah, August 8th.
And try
If
some of these
you're in
drunken,
northern Nevada.
Try
Yeah.
some of these drunken pickles. I'm sure they'll taste tasty. Well, listeners, you know where you can find old Big Chief at. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube now at The Whiskey Trip. I'd really appreciate it if you go over to the YouTube and watch these videos that I'm doing with my guest. I think some of them are just simply amazing, but they're all, every guest I have tells a great story. Insider track to whiskeys, to bourbons. You want to check it out. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, though. If you're listening to me, as I always say, listen to Matt and Mark from the Bourbon Life on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on Apple Music or Amazon Music, on did I say iHeartRadio? Yeah, I may have said that. But listen to Matt and Mark from the Bourbon Life. And if you like what you're hearing from both of us, make sure you leave us that 5-star review and some comments. on Apple Podcasts. Then copy those comments and put them over on my Facebook page at The Whiskey Trip. I really appreciate those comments, those reviews. They get great guests on my show like Colby and Ashley. Great whiskey on my show like this Frey Ranch right here. It gets me to do great giveaways. It inspires me to put out more great content, find stories out there that have never been told. So keep listening, keep following, keep tracking. If you want to reach out to me, Mike at thewhiskeytrip.com. Send me an email. If you got a distillery out there that you want to be on the show, reach out to me and let me know. I'm easy to talk to. I want to promote craft whiskey out there from around the United States, from around the world. If you got something over in Australia, you got some in Germany, you got some in Japan, let's get it on the show. Let's talk about it. I'd love to have some other whiskeys on from around the world and expand this whiskey trip a little bit around the globe. So keep following me. Check out the whiskeytrip.com. Check out my merch on there. One of my rocks glasses or the Bourbon Bullshitter t-shirt, one of my hats, or one of my challenge coins. Go on there and support this veteran-owned and operated podcast. I really appreciate it. Thanks, everybody, for supporting me. This is Old Big Chief, and thanks for taking this ride with me, baby.